Well, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and you are scrolling through your database as a fundraising professional. You see the same old names. Now, they're wonderful people, they've made large gifts to you. But I want to tell you today that in that donor base, hidden, there is a person that's your next transformational gift that could make a 400,000 gift to your organization. So let me tell you a story about that transformational person in our nonprofit. I've been working in the nonprofit field for 27 years. My name is Randy Dirks. I've served two nonprofit organizations as their vice president. And I've got some stories that I think will be inspirational to you. So there was a lady named Marceline, and years ago, she became a volunteer in our organization. We have a university, and she volunteered as a librarian and helped students find their library books and got to know them better. Well, you see, the reason why Marceline connected with us is because of our mission, our cause. We train young people to be the next generation of individuals who start churches around the world. And Marceline's passion was that. She wanted to give scholarship aid, she wanted to give general fund money to help us fulfill our mission. And so we had an estate planning gift officer, and he went and visited Marceline after she no longer was a volunteer in our library just to get to know her better. And as he talked to her, he found out that passion that she had of wanting to help young people who were preparing for a missions career so that they could complete that and actually serve in that area. He also found out that Marceline had a smaller farm. And Marceline said, I want to give my farm, I want to bequeath it to your nonprofit organization. So when I pass away, the farm will become yours and you can sell the asset. So that's exactly what was done. And when Marceline did pass away, we received documentation that now the deed was in our name. And so we sold that farm and we received $400,000. That came at a very important time for us. And so here was that hidden donor right in our database. A person named Donald Miller works a lot with nonprofit organizations, and he says there are three problems that need to be solved with donors. The first one is the external problem. That simply means that donors are saying nonprofit organizations are only interested in my cash. And so they back off. External problem. Secondly, there's an internal problem. That internal problem goes something like this: that nonprofit really doesn't understand my heart. They don't understand the passion that I have. And so I will simply give an occasional gift at a very small value. I won't become involved with them. And then there's a philosophical problem. The philosophical problem goes like this: I have a dream, the donor is saying, and I don't think that organization cares sufficiently about the dream that I have. And so fundraising professionals need to solve three problems: an external, an internal, and a philosophical problem that the donors may have. So it's not about donor capacity, it's about donor connection. So your Marcelines are waiting for you to build a bridge between their deepest values and your organization, and it needs to start in that order. So I want to give you three steps that will move that donor's passion and heart and connect it with your organization. The first one is, we've alluded to it already, is look beyond the numbers. Look beyond what your numbers are saying. You don't need to do wealth analysis. You're simply doing something simpler. You're looking for regular, consistent giving. In other words, you're looking for that $25 a month that comes month after month and year after year, or something similar to that. That shows affinity with your cause. That shows consistency that the donor is making to your organization. Secondly, in this area of looking beyond the numbers. You want to find engagement. And maybe it's the person helps in a volunteer capacity within your organization in a variety of ways. And certainly Marceline did that in the library. And then third, you're looking for a deeper personal relationship because of your cause. And we certainly saw this in Marceline because she said, here's my asset. And I believe in the cause that you're involved in. And I want to connect my asset, my farm, to your cause for future transformation. So Donald Miller speaks about seeing your donor as the hero, not your organization. And that's often the case. We come with our cause, our program, our next initiative, and we need to start with the heart, the passion, the dream, the intent of the donor. So we look for those values, and we look for personal engagement. That's the first one. The second one is a question. And it's important to ask great questions. And let me read this question to you because each word has value. When our staff member went and visited Marceline, he likely said something like this: if you could impact one key area through your giving, what would that be? Notice he didn't come in saying, Marceline, I want to tell you about 2 major projects that you could become involved in. He said, if you could impact one key issue through your generosity, what would that be? What is on your heart? What is important to you? What do you value? So that's step number 2. Step number 1 is looking beyond the numbers. Step number 2 is the question that gets at heart values. And then step number 3 is to see yourself as a bridge between the donor's heart passion and the nonprofit's cause and mission. So often the traditional gift offer is looking at how we can convince the donor that what our cause is, it is so valuable and important. So we give stats and reports and documents, all kinds of information to really convince the donor. And the transformational gift officer is saying this. Let me read it to you. How do I help this donor experience the perfect expression of their values? So you see where the focus is? I want the donor to experience the perfect expression of his or her values. Now, I'm going to tell you one made up story, but it illustrates the point. Again, I'm going to read this to you because each word has value. You're talking to Sarah, and you say something like this: Sarah, you've shared how education transformed your family's trajectory. I've been thinking about your story, and I wonder if you would be interested in hearing about how your passion could create that same transformation in the lives of others. So let me unpack a few things that are really critical in this question. Number 1, I've been thinking about your story, not my story, and I wonder. Now you're creating a desire to engage in conversation. You're really, in essence, asking a question. And you're then saying, I've heard about your passion. In other words, the focus is, in this case, on how education was so transformational in the family of Sarah. Your passion. And I want to see if you would be interested in seeing how your involvement with us could create that same transformation in the lives of others. So that illustrates this matter of being the bridge between the donor's heart and passion and the cause of the organization. So let me give you proof of how this works. Number 1, you're looking for values detection. You're looking for how dreams can be realized, the donor's dreams. So 2 quick stories. Roger was one of them. He had his own small business that he operated for years. We knew him many, many years ago. And our major gift officer, a plan giving person, visited him. And Roger simply said, I want to include Bethany in my estate. And so he did that. Well, a few years ago, we received a letter from the attorney saying that Bethany was the recipient of $250,000. You see, Roger's value was for the cause that we were involved in to be benefited. It connected the two. So that whole issue of values detection and how dreams can be true. Here's another story. A foundation very interested in our cause, generous, gave $100,000, $100,000 one year. We met with them. We heard their story. We heard what was important to them. We reported on what their giving did. We understood more of their values. We presented a new proposal. They doubled their giving. They went from 100,000 to 200,000. So we want to look for consistency over time, and then we want to look for a convergence of values of the donor with the cause we have. You are the bridge. So in closing, your next transformational donor likely is not involved in a fancy wealth screening process. It's hiding in the heart of someone who's been supporting you, maybe in very small but regular gifts over time. So here's your assignment. I want you to start today or tomorrow. Screen through your database. Look over the last 3-5 years and simply look for consistent, regular giving that shows affinity with your cause and consistency. Find those people and then visit them and simply ask, what is your dream? What is your heart? If there's one thing that you could accomplish through your generosity, what would that be? Your next transformational gift from that amazing donor may be that $400,000 gift that's hidden in your database, but it is right there. Thanks for listening.